Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you at the webinar of Lietuvos Energijos Gamyba. My name is Valentas Neviera, and I thank you for joining us at the webinar to hear a little bit more about the performance and results of Lietuvos Energijos Gamyba in 2017. Today we are hosted by Eglė Čiužaitė, the chairwoman of the board and CEO of the company. And before we proceed with the presentation, I will shortly introduce you with the agenda. Firstly, Ms. Čiužaitė will comment LEG financial results of 2017 and inform you about current events in the company. Right after the presentation, we will open the floor for your questions. I invite you to use the question box on the right side of the screen to send all your questions. We will answer them after the presentation. So, Eglė, I invite you to start the presentation.
Good afternoon, dear investors and other webinar guests. I welcome you all interested in Lietuvos Energijos Gamyba, or abbreviated as LEG. Today I will discuss the 2017 LEG results and will comment on the topics which are the most relevant for our company in the first half of 2018. And at the end of the session, I will gladly answer any questions that you may have. Let me start with a short overview of our key activities. They comprise energy, mainly electricity production, and provision of system services necessary for the energy system. We operate 3 power plants, Elektrėnai complex, Kruonis pumped storage power plant, and Kaunas hydro power plant. Elektrėnai complex provides strategic and tertiary reserve services and also generates electricity and heat. Currently, there are 2 electricity producing units in operation in Elektrėnai complex. That is a modern combined cycle unit of 455 megawatts and unit 8 of 300 megawatts. In addition, unit 7 of 300 megawatts is currently in conservation mode. In our hydropower plants in Kruonis and Kaunas, we produce commercial electricity and provide a variety of system services. Looking at a couple investor-related figures, our market capitalization at the end of December 2017 was 396 million euro. Lietuvos Energija is our largest shareholder with 96.75% shares, and we also have approximately 5,900 small but very much appreciated shareholders. Moving to the next slide, I would like to highlight the key events for the 4th quarter of 2017, as we had a very busy end of the year in preparation for 2018. To start, in November, Kruonis pumped storage power plant reliably participated in the blackout test of restoring Lithuanian electricity system. Also in November, we finalized the preparatory works for wind farm project in the territory of Kruonis. Then at the end of November, Lithuanian government approved 212 megawatts as strategic reserve capacity necessary for 2018 in Lithuania, which is provided by Unit 8 of Elektrėnai complex. Then in the middle of December, LEG board made a decision to terminate the operation of Unit 7 of Elektrėnai complex and put it into conservation mode in order to save costs and as there is no competitive demand for Unit 7 services in 2018. But this unit may be necessary for the system isolated regime test in 2019 in preparation for the synchronization with Western Europe networks. Finally, just before Christmas, the contracts were signed with transmission system operator Litgrid for the following services. For secondary active power reserve of 400 megawatt service, which is provided by Kruonis, and tertiary active power reserve service of 260 megawatts, which is provided by a combined cycle unit of Elektrėnai complex, which was allocated through the tertiary reserve auctioning process earlier that year. Summarizing 2017, we had a very productive and interesting year and moved on significantly on the road of 2020 strategy implementation. To highlight a few key achievements, first one, in over 55 years history of Kaunas hydro power plant, 2017 has been the year with the highest annual electricity production amount. Also in 2017, we served 22 new clients whom we didn't have in 2016, and we provided a variety of services to them, mainly maintenance and similar energy sector services. Also, we currently rent out approximately 21,000 square meters of our territory in Elektrėnai complex, or 50% of total available capacity, and we welcome new inquiries. Moreover, 9 development and asset optimization projects were completed in 2017, and also we had an effect of 1.3 million euro achieved through our operational excellence program or our lean practices due to over 500 improvements or kaizens offered by our employees. And finally, in Transparency International study, we were rated as the most transparent company in Lithuanian energy sector and were number 7 among 49 evaluated companies. I believe all these achievements increase our company value to the shareholders and show our continuous efforts to improve. Let me now move to the overview of electricity and commodity market trends. First, looking at the trading balance in Lithuania, in 2017, 76% of electricity was imported. Wind generation continued to grow in 2017 and amounted to 11.4% of total electricity balance, while the 3 leg power plants also contributed a similar amount, 11.5% into the balance. Annual wholesale price of electricity in Lithuanian price zone was by 3.7% lower year over year and amounted to 35.15 euros per megawatt hour for 2017. The average annual gas price increased by 7.3% year over year, and concerning the CO2 emission allowance prices, they were rising quite steadily in the second half of 2017, and further rising prices we observe in the beginning of 2018. Moving on to our 2017 production results, the total amount of generated electricity in our power plants decreased by 16% to 1,147 gigawatt hours. And the decrease is mainly related to the 72% lower generation in Elektrėnai complex due to fewer opportunities for competitive generation from gas in Elektrėnai. Combined cycle unit was started 19 times in 2017 to compare with 58 times in 2016. Kruonis generated 6% more electricity compared to 2016 with a very solid performance in the fourth quarter. And the production amount in Kaunas hydropower plant was record high, 26% higher in 2017 as compared year over year due to the high annual water levels, which also had a very positive effect on our EBITDA. Moreover, all our power plants showed high availability indices in 2017, and this is due to a very accurate and professional work of our employees. Now let's look at the breakdown of our total revenue and expenses. So first, the top revenue chart. Total revenue for 2017 was 13% lower year over year and amounted to 150 million euro. And the change was mainly due to the one-off revenue stream in 2016, about 20 million euro sale of trade business at the beginning of 2016. While if we look solely at sales revenue, it remained rather stable, decreasing only by 4% year over year to 147 million in 2017, mainly due to the lower generation in Elektrėnai complex. So this lower generation in Elektrėnai influenced our largest share of revenue, commercial sales, as the annual commercial sales revenue is lower by 20% from 70 to almost 56 million euro year over year. The second largest category, that is reserves revenue, remained rather stable, changing from 41 to 40 million euro year over year. The subsidized strategic reserve revenue increased from 36 million to 47 million euro year over year, and this change is mainly attributed to one-off regulated decisions. And in addition, while generating electricity, combined cycle unit earned over 1 million of gross profit in the market in 2017, which also reduced this subsidized revenue stream. Another category of our revenue, heat sales, stayed at a similar level, though they don't comprise a large share in the revenue stream. And in 2016, there was this one-off sale of sales activities that I mentioned. Concerning the costs, total costs increased by 8% from 124 to 134 million euro, which is mainly due to one-off impairment amounting to 31 million euro on units 7 and 8 asset value in Elektrėnai complex, which was made due to unclear perspectives of the unit's utilization in the longer term future. Meanwhile, variable costs, that is the purchases of electricity and material expenses, were controlled effectively in line with lower generation amounts. Looking at the cost breakdown and the largest categories, electricity purchases were at a similar level, amounting to 26 million euro in 2017, which is in line with Kruonis generation, while the material purchases were down by 36%, amounting to 32 million euro in 2017, which is in line with lower generation in Elektrėnai and optimized operational costs. So this effect of cost optimization is seen on our profitability margins, and now I would like to overview the 5-year trend of LEG performance, and it's visible that though we experienced a significant total revenue decrease during the past 5 years, we also see a stable and healthy trend in the profit figures as we were able to control variable and operational costs effectively. So we have a rather stable adjusted EBITDA and adjusted net profit levels and stable profitability levels. Please note that we show adjusted profit figures here in the graphs in order to provide and comment on the comparable figures, while we disclose all the adjustments made and all the one-off factors that affected the financials. So for the detailed information on these disclosures, please look at the notes to LEG financial statements. So EBITDA adjustments are mainly related to the one-off effects of the regulator decisions, while net profit adjustments are related to the impairments on the asset value, CO2 emission allowance prices, and sales of business or subsidiaries. One more note concerning the adjusted net profit. Actually, the Elektrėnai complex asset value impairments were the main significant adjustment to net profit, which amounted to almost 10 million euro in 2014 for units 1 and 2 value, amounted to 30 million euro in 2015 for units 5 and 6 value, and amounted to 31.4 million euro in 2017 for units 7 and 8 value. Finally, during the 5-year term, LEG paid out or suggested to pay out 147.8 million euro in dividends to our shareholders, and just recently it is proposed for the general shareholders meeting's decision for the second half of 2017 to pay out the total amount of 8.9 million euro or 1.4 euro cents per share. So these were all the slides related to our operational and financial performance. And now let me move to the 2 final slides, the overview of our plans for the first half of 2018. So first, regarding our power plant performance, as the weather conditions remain positive for Kaunas hydropower plant, we continue to utilize this power plant actively and hope it will continue this way. Concerning the combined cycle unit, as 260 megawatts of its capacity is allocated for the tertiary reserve service, we now accurately follow the market and plan on utilizing its residual value for the commercial operations when it gets competitive in the market. And moreover, since the beginning of February 2018, we started the refurbishment project on the second unit of Kruonis power plant, and this refurbishment will last for more than 5 months, and we plan on performing this refurbishment successfully. Moreover, as the Nordbalt maintenance is planned to be held in summer 2018, all our power plants will be ready to provide reliable services during that time. And finally, we continuously seek and provide services to new clients while utilizing 3 major important components. First, the expertise of our employees. Second, the advantages of our territory. And third, the potential of our specialized equipment. And finally, regarding the projects, I want to tell you a little bit more about the wind farm and Unit 5 in Kruonis development projects and asset optimization projects. So concerning the wind farm project, we by the end of the year finalized the preparatory works, and as the other market participants are currently waiting for the guidelines on the national renewable energy support schemes. Going further, concerning Kruonis Unit 5 development, in January 2018, we were granted the EU funds for the research and technical analysis on the current Kruonis infrastructure in order to be even better prepared for Unit 5 implementation. And in addition, we are waiting for the regional decisions on the chosen synchronization model. Concerning other projects that we currently have, we are decommissioning units 5 and 6 and are also in progress of a few smaller asset optimization projects in Elektrėnai. And just recently, we announced the initiation of additional project, which is the dismantling of 2 chimneys of the Elektrėnai complex. So summing up, in order to fulfill the expectations of our shareholders, we continuously put our daily efforts to implement our 2020 strategy. That is first to respond flexibly and reliable to the market and to the client needs, and second, to manage our costs effectively. And I hope you appreciate our efforts. So that's the end of my presentation today. Thank you all for your kind attention, and I will gladly answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Agla, for the presentation. So now let's proceed with the questions. But before, I would like to remind you that you can send all your questions in the on the right side of the screen. We will gladly answer all your questions. And now we have some questions we received in advance. So let's start with a question about units 7 and 8 in the Elektrėnai complex. What are the perspectives for the next year? Are there any plans on providing any services with the units?
Thank you for the question. Actually, we currently have a more clear view regarding Unit 7 and Unit 8 only for 2018 and 2019. So this year, Unit 8 serves as strategic reserve, while Unit 7 is in conservation mode. While both units, Unit 7 and 8, may be required in 2019 for the performance of the isolated system test in preparation for the synchronization. Nevertheless, the necessity and demand of the unit's service in the longer term future is currently quite unclear. Moreover, due to high production costs, these units are not competitive to operate in the market on the commercial terms. Therefore, we calculated the impairment on units 7 and 8 asset value of 31.4 million euro. So to sum up, the long-term perspective of these two units is quite unclear.
Thank you, Agla. Let's stay in the Elektrėnai complex with the second question. You mentioned a little bit about it, but to sum up, what are your plans for the operation of combined cycle unit in 2018 and further on?
Very good question. It's a very important unit in Elektrėnai complex for our operations, and the total maximum capacity of combined cycle unit is 455. As I mentioned, in 2018, 260 megawatts of combined cycle unit are dedicated as tertiary reserve, while at the beginning of the year, we got the permission from the regulator to utilize the residual technically available capacity for the commercial operators when this unit is competitive in the market. In general, there are quite limited situations for the market performance due to quite limited amount of megawatts available for the market. However, we will definitely utilize those opportunities if they occur.
Thank you. And dear participants, let me remind you, you can ask your questions on the right side of the screen. And let's proceed with the third question, and let's move to Vilnius. There's a question about the Vilnius third power plant. So what are your plans, or maybe Lithuanian energy plans, this power plant?
Thank you for the question. Yes, this is a topic of a big interest for the investors, I believe. However, it is still a little bit too early to talk about LEG plans in this area. We are currently still on the same page as I commented a couple of months ago. We are contracted as a technical advisor to Lietuvos Energijos, and we are ensuring that current technical service provider, which is Vilnius Šilumos Tinklai, does their work properly on the third thermal power plant. And if there are decisions by the shareholder to get us more involved in the third thermal power plant, the market announcements will be definitely made.
Thank you. One more question. The minor investor today asked us, will LEG pay dividends for the second half of 2017?
Thank you. Yes, I believe the dividend question is a very relevant topic for the shareholders. We actually just published the profit allocation proposal today, and there is a proposal to pay out dividends for the second half of the 2017, amounting to 8.9 million euro or 1.4 euro cents per share. The general shareholders meeting will be held on the 26th of March, and the shareholders will actually make a decision on the dividend amount for the second half of 2017.
Thank you. And the last question we have, it's connected to the things you said today at the webinar. And the question is, what will be the impact of refurbishment of Unit 2 of Kruonis pumped storage power plant for the company's results?
Yes, thank you for the question. As I mentioned, the refurbishment will last for approximately 5 months, and there will be certain effects on Kruonis power plant revenue level, but we hope that there will not be a very significant effect under normal market terms, and let me explain why. In general, we have 4 units in Kruonis, 4 units of 225 megawatts each. So one is in refurbishment now. 2 units are available for transmission system operator, providing secondary reserve, and only 1 unit is currently available for the commercial operations. However, we currently see quite normal market conditions, no abnormalities, while in the summer, when Nordbalt maintenance takes place, we plan on already having all units available for the operations, and we believe that the effect on our financial performance will be mainly seen during that time if there are high fluctuations in the market prices when the Nordbalt link is not available.
Thank you, Agla. That's all questions are answered. It took us a little bit more than 20 minutes for this webinar, so I think we'll go to the end. The record of presentation will be available in the NASDAQ Baltic YouTube channel, also in our company's webpage. Mr. Žaite, thank you for the presentation and for the answers given. And dear participants, thank you for joining. Hope to meet you after a few months, maybe in August, to discuss further results of Lietuvos Energijos Gamyba.
Thank you once again for your interest in our company. I wish you all the best and talk to you next time.